Hey guys, welcome back to LxMDuo. My name is Ali, and today we are back with another Sims 4 speed build. And I will just start off by saying I think this is probably my favorite build I've done so far. It's really, really cool. So what we're doing today is a very modern artist loft. And my inspiration for it was kind of to be like a converted warehouse space and to make it like a really, really modern loft like style apartment. And I won't lie, it was actually a big challenge because I had the general idea of what I wanted to accomplish, but I didn't have any like specifics in mind while I was building it. So a lot of the beginning is very trial and error and trying to create something that looks interesting but is still modern but isn't boring to look at on the outside, you know? And I didn't want it to be just like a big square box, I guess. So that's why we've put the entire building up onto a second level, and we made the bottom a garage, which originally I was going to keep an open garage, but I ended up putting doors on it in the end. And as you can see up here, I was trying to do something a little more interesting. I thought, oh, I don't want it to be just super square and boxy because it'll be super boring. So I was going to put a patio on the back or on the side, and I end up just making that all interior space because it still looks really, really interesting. But I still needed more interior space for their actual living areas because it's actually a really small house. So instead of the upstairs patio like I was originally planning, I just decided that that bottom part would be a covered patio for them to go out and enjoy and just be kind of like really nonchalant and not have to be super flashy, because in my mind this is more, again, that converted warehouse. And I did think about adding a pool too, but then I realized that it didn't really fit in with that whole conversion. And it'd be kind of weird since it was never a residential lot. I kind of imagine that they wouldn't really have much more space on the land than what they've already built on, I mean. So this lot actually does have a story behind it because I made it for two characters in a Let's Play that I'm trying to create. And so it was an old, like I said, an old abandoned warehouse, and a wealthy family has bought it out and modernized it and really brought it back to life. And they bought it in this particular neighborhood because it's a really inexpensive neighborhood. As you can see in the background, the homes are ranch style. They're much older. Some of them are a little more worn down. And it's an area where people have either lived for a really long time or, you know, the values have gone down a little bit because it's an older neighborhood. So they were able to get this loft for pretty inexpensive and really just put money into it to build it up and make it beautiful and new. And they bought it for their artist son, so he would have a place to live and create his art. And his sister ends up moving in when she turns 18. She's still a teenager, she's still finishing out high school, but she moves in and decided she wanted to live with him because she thought it was such a neat loft. She wanted some space away from the parents. But while they're really, really talented artists, they kind of don't really fit into this neighborhood because it's a, you know, older neighborhood, not quite as artsy. There's a lot of troubled teens. So yeah, this house just like really sticks out in the neighborhood. It's like, it's so modern and it's so pretty and cool, and I don't know. I think it's such a cool house though, and it's so much more interesting as you look around the neighborhood and you see the houses that are there because it sticks out so much. You'll get to see the characters I'm talking about at the end for my little video and photo montage of the home. They're pretty cool characters, I think. So as you can see, by this point, I did have the general layout of the house done. I knew where I wanted my kitchen. I had the upstairs. I had it all figured out, but this kitchen still gave me trouble. I wanted a kitchen that was interesting. I thought that they would have something with a little bit of color, something a little more eccentric than your normal kitchen, but I don't like the colors that were provided for these islands. They were all horrendous. I almost went with the yellow because I wanted a splash of color, because everything else in the house ends up being really industrial and clean and just kind of sterile, that I wanted this to be one of the spots that had that nice pop. But everything was just kind of, the colors were weird. So I ended up going with these, which I think is nice. I like the white and then the little touch of the kind of like peachy orange. But I really wish that there had been a better selection of colors, because even the ones that were really interesting, I just thought were kind of ugly. Like that yellow was like an ugly mustard. The greens were kind of pukey, and then like the purples and everything were just too much. So I don't know, a little disappointed in the selection here, but I'm still happy with how this turns out in the end. Once I get the kitchen in though, I was at a complete loss on how to make a dining area or where to put a dining area, because I knew the whole front wanted to be the artist space. So I take a break and I come back to it. I imagined that these would be actual real world kind of dilemmas you would come into a place like this, because again, it wasn't meant to be a residential home. So they kind of just built in some areas in here once they bought it. So, you know, it's kind of funny because I think these would actually be challenges you would have. They want their area to do art, they need a sleeping area, but like how to design a kitchen and everything in here, I don't know. It's just kind of funny when you kind of feel like you're having those real world struggles. Like this is what it would really be like. Everything up here is really, really simple though. We have this really nice bath area though. I love their bathroom. It's got a nice soaker tub. It has a nice shower. It's got a talking toilet. And then they have a small closet that they get to share. And again, it's tiny, but I feel like the space was used really effectively. Like, I don't know. I think it's nice. I also love how the entire place has the medium-sized ceilings, because it just makes those rooms just look so much bigger than they actually are, and it makes it so grand, you know? Like, look at those floor-to-ceiling mirrors. It just, like, it makes everything look so much bigger. Yeah. And then, you know, I had to figure out lights, and I think yeah, I spent a little bit of time here because I wanted something interesting on these walls. Again, I kept everything really simple, but I didn't want it to be boring. And I kind of figured aesthetic would be huge since they are artists. But yeah, trying to find a light in here was interesting. I liked this a lot, but then I didn't like that it kind of took away from those high ceilings again. So I ended up going back to those little side panels that just bring in a little extra ambiance to the bath area. And it's so nice. I feel like it'd be so relaxing. The other thing up here is I wanted to keep it open to the downstairs. So I wasn't able to make it a multi-bedroom house because it would close off the downstairs. So I had to find a creative way to give them, you know, a little privacy since they don't each get their own individual bedroom. And then of course they need a little bit of entertainment. I mean, just because they do art doesn't mean they don't want to have fun or they don't want to sit down and relax. And I end up really liking how this kind of turns out because it's definitely primarily an artist area. This is where they do all their painting and everything like that, but it is kind of loungy as well. So we add in the couches and we add in the place for them to paint on the wall as well. And from here I do just a lot of adding in bulk and making the space look really filled with paintings they've done and canvases ready for them to go. So these guys are like, they're fully stocked, which is really cool. And it makes the space look really, really neat because it really shows how passionate they are and how much of their time and devotion is spent on their craft. And primarily it's the girl who does painting and the boy is a musician, but they both dabble in a little bit of everything because they are very into any kind of arts. And I thought it was kind of cool to add a little details down here in the garage as well. Even though it's an area no one will ever really visit, I wanted to add in that clutter just to give it a little more, like, you know, lived in feel and make the space seem like it has a purpose besides, you know, being a fake garage. It's kind of hard in this game when you don't actually have cars, but you want the garage, and those areas end up just being so useless. But I still wanted it to be aesthetically pleasing and fitting in with the theme of the artist loft. So yeah, so we did that. And can you imagine as an artist though, with that painting area, you have this natural light coming in, you have those big windows. I just think it would be so relaxing and inspiring. And I gave this property a lot of positive artist traits as well. And as for decorating the house, I did keep it really, really simple because I wanted that bottom space, I wanted them to actually be able to paint on it, get their artist skill up, and then have it be like it's, you know, instead of buying art, they're creating art that they put on their own walls. So I think as I play through the game, if they create really cool art, I'm going to place it on the wall as well. So for the most part, I left the walls really bare, which some people might think is kind of weird since they're artists. But it's because I want them to fill their home with their own art and their own creations. So even in my mind, that big piece that I put up on the wall is something that they've created previously, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, so we, you know, keep it kind of simple with the art. I really didn't add anything into the walls unless it was like a necessity or, you know, something to make it feel more lived in. But as time goes, you know, if you download this, your Sims can create the art for it. That's my plan as of right now. I wasn't really sure what to put under this TV either. The space needed something. It felt really empty, and like I went through like every strange end table you could think of, and then finally I was like, you know what? It's like the perfect space for a fireplace, and I think it looks really nice. It's just like simple, white, but it'll be nice for those, you know, cold nights whenever the Sims decides to give us seasons. Wishful thinking, right? And I did end up extending this this middle panel all the way to the top because I realized I didn't want to put curtains on the windows. The whole point is it's open and you have all this beautiful natural light coming in. But their bedroom was super exposed. Even with it being on the 3rd floor, I just felt like it would be too easy for people to look in. But I didn't want to completely close it off because, again, it's about having this, I don't know how to say it, like, you know, this open area where everything's kind of almost like one space. So this is a really, really good compromise, and it actually added so much interest even to the bedroom. But where I put the beds, it closes it off enough where they can like sleep privately from the outside and still have that open space. I did try the curtains, as I'm sure you saw, but I could not get them to work. The curtains were not the right sizes. That would have been a really cool compromise, would have been those shears. But it didn't work, and you know what? It's fine. They're artists. I'm sure that they're pretty open-minded. You know, if someone sees them naked, so what, right? I do like the choice for the outside too, the dark kind of stone, and then the stone on the bottom that really separate the garage from the home itself is really a nice little touch, I think. And from here, I was trying to light the outside, and I'm pretty sure from here I spent a lot of my time focusing on lighting. And I will just say that there are two things I think that make Sims homes feel more realistic, and that is good lighting and a lot of clutter, and like clutter in the right spots. But that's just me, I guess. I think those are important steps when you're building your Sims homes. I tried to do something a little interesting here. I really wanted to keep this open. I don't know why. It just felt like that was where I wanted to go with it. And then I tried adding in those lights on the side just to give it some visual interest. But then I started really thinking about it. I was like, it looks kind of weird being open, and I have things in there, and I feel like it's just like, hey, come steal me. And it needs to be like a storage area. So I do end up closing it off, which in the end ends up being really, really great because these doors aren't obviously actual real garage doors. They're from the city pack, I believe, and they are meant for artists to spray paint on and paint on. So when I decided to add them, I realized it was a great option because it gave them additional places to display their art and to level up their art skill. So while that was my original plan, I ended up really, really liking the closed garage more. It looked better, it gave more opportunity for the Sims, and yeah, I think it looks really, really nice. I don't know what I was trying to do with those lights, though. I was trying to get all kinds of creative up front at first. Where are we now? Oh, okay, yeah. Back to the lights. Like I said, I was like, what is happening? Yeah, so here I really start focusing on the lights, and I like all of these kind of spotlights that, like, they spotlight onto that painting, and they spotlight onto the accent wall, and again, the lighting is just super important. I think it gives it such an interesting look to the entire home. Yes, everything's a little bit dark, but it's nice and moody, and I will say the lighting in The Sims is extremely impressive because it's extremely realistic. Like how the light falls and the amount of light given from certain objects. I think they do so good with their lighting, which is part of what makes it so fun for me when I'm trying to light my homes, because everything lights something just a little bit differently, you know? I love this light for this too, because it gives it a nice little industrial touch, you know? Oh yeah, the lighting, I love lighting. I love it. It's so fun. Makes things look so unique. And clutter. I don't know, how many times am I going to say that? Lighting and clutter are the keys in building your Sims homes. I don't know what that was. Don't even ask. So as we see here, I decided to go with an eat-in island instead of a dining area. I did go through a few different tables and chair combinations, and I just, you know what? Another thing I don't really like in The Sims is their table selection is not very good. There's just like one shape, and it's all the same, and I don't know. So I've been using a lot of these eat-in islands a lot, and I really, really like them, but it worked especially well for this area. And then I had this back area that I really wasn't sure what else I should do with, so I decided to make it a bar. Then I started just pulling out random items that I thought I could use, and I ended up using none of these. Yeah, this bar place is really cool too, because it's got those nice accents of the green color, and I added in this nice sign, so it's a really cool accent piece looking that direction. And of course the cabinets are really cool. Those are probably my favorite cabinets in the game. And I really wanted to fill in these shelving units, and I was trying to add this one into it, because look at how cool it would have looked with all of those boxes and stuff, but it did not fit. It did not fit. Unfortunately, I couldn't get it to line up. And then here I'm just trying to figure out what I realized that there were more options than just this, what is it called? The divider? So I started going through all the dividers, and I ended up with this one with the lights, which is really cool. Like, yeah, you can kind of see through it. So again, it's a little less privacy to it. But I feel, again, as artists, they would be all about aesthetic. They could sacrifice a little bit of privacy for a really cool divider with the lights and the nice dark blue color. And it just, it works. Yes, this was my solution to the lack of ability to have two bedrooms, was that they just kind of divide off their space. Her brother was nice enough to give her the more private half of the room. What a gentleman, right? Letting her move in, letting her have the private part. But it's nice because they both still have their own space. But I do imagine, man, imagine having to like be quiet all the time, because I'm sure it's a big concrete room. It would just echo. But, you know, I suppose you probably are used to that with siblings. He was probably like, I had my time away, you know. I miss my sister. Come on in, boo-boo. I kept what they had in their living spaces pretty sparse as well. I kind of figured, you know, they'd bring a little bit of clothing, and they wouldn't really have much else though, you know. Especially they're both really young. They both just moved to their own place. They're not going to have a lot of their own stuff, you know. When you first move out, you really don't have stuff. As an adult, you move into your own place, and then you start to accumulate stuff, and then it sucks because then you have nowhere to put it, and then you have a garage full of shit and an extra bedroom full of shit. And okay, sorry, I'm starting to get a little too personal here. I have a hoarding problem, And I have a lot of shit we're trying to clean out of our house right now. I'm getting way too personal. Oh no. Anywho. I really wanted to add a few cameras. I added the vintage one. I added a little digital, you know, a little touch for your girl here who is a photographer and just wanted a little part of me in this. And it was also about this time I realized, oh yeah, he has the musician trait and I have not put a single musical instrument in this home. And that's where it goes back to, well, it really sucks your sister sleeps in the music room with you because, you know, you only got limited times in the day where you can play your music. But I figured this would all be super personal to him, so he would want it in his space and his area. And then, let's be honest, we did not have any room down in the bottom part for his stuff because his sister just moved in and took over and put her canvases everywhere. Her brother is quite patient. He is quite a saint, if you ask me. Then I think I went back to trying to clutter this up. And what sucked is, so I did the move up object, and I couldn't get... The things in here are weird. If it has a spot that it clicks to, you can't lift it further up. So this was literally as much clutter as I could put in there. I really wanted to fill those other spaces more. I was having a really, really hard time though. See, as you can see, I kind of struggled, and then I just gave up. I was like, you know what, it's fine. There's some clutter. But clutter is so important. Clutter is life. Okay, now I'm just whining, but I wish you could turn off that like snap feature. I know there's other ways around it, but at this point I was feeling too lazy to do it because I spent so much damn time on this build. Oh my god, you guys, I spent so much time. I probably spend way more time in these builds than I should. I spend a good, for big builds like this, probably 3 to 4 hours. It's really bad. And I get so lost in it too. Oh yeah, and I wanted to keep the walls all kind of concrete-y as well and keep that industrial warehouse feel, but I did add those accent walls up in their personal space. I figured in the bathrooms and the accent wall in their bedroom would be enough to give it some life. And I kept all of the floors concrete because I figured they wouldn't have put tile or anything in there, except again up in the bedroom. I definitely made the bedroom area more personalized and more comfortable and more like a place. Well, this is where we sleep, this is where we live. It needs to be a little more, you know, lived in, I guess, is possibly what I'm going for. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore, y'all. And there Ally goes, back to that lighting. I think we might be pretty much done with the inside. At this point, it's just a matter of getting the outside looking really good and giving it a little more of, again, a lived-in look and not being so cold outside. Like, yes, it was a warehouse, but they have moved in and they have made it an actual home. So we add that cool little light tree to the side. We add then a real tree, you know. Yeah. Well, that is about the end of this video. So I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you guys so very, very much for coming and watching my speed build. I love to do these and I really, really hope you guys enjoy watching them. Even if you don't, I'm gonna keep doing them, so. Alright, please give us a like. If you have any comments, please leave a comment. And don't forget that me and Irving do stream on Twitch a minimum of 4 days a week. So you can find us there and come chat with us live. Until next time, you guys, have a good day. Bye!